Shake hands. Here was Richard Sherman with Pat McAfee on his radio show yesterday.
It's definitely my bad. I never want anybody to have to deal with some that they didn't do. And so the questions that he's going to get and the annoying nonsense questions about some stuff that happened in a game that's already been done, sure, he'll get an apology for that. I'll probably reach out to him via text or social media to actually get a hold of him and talk to him in person.
I haven't had my phone on me. Just got out of practice, but I just heard that. It's nice of him.
Did that bother you at all when he said what he did, that you didn't shake his hand and all that?
No. I know what I did, but that's, the one time the camera and something recording me is, gone in my favor.
Sort of funny when you think about it. Listen, I want to ask you this question this way, Dominique Foxworth, to start. Should this be a big deal? Should this story be a big deal?
Absolutely not. It shouldn't be a big deal. I understand why it is a deal at all, but it shouldn't be a big deal. I think Baker has created this situation where people are looking for reasons to hate him. People are looking for reasons to hate on him. I personally love it. I hope that he turns it around and plays well, but the fact that people are bothered by him shouldn't be a surprise to him. And the fact that we're talking about it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Yes,
right,
so to some degree, yeah, Schefter, to some degree, I disagree with you. It should be a big deal because the Browns spent all summer saying, pay attention to us. Right. Look at all the stuff going on here.
No, they didn't say that. We said that.
Well,
they didn't say that.
Baker Mayfield does a lot of calling attention to himself, yes?
But a story that Baker Mayfield did nothing at all basically has become a referendum on the type of person and player he is. He shakes the guy's hand, didn't give him an embrace the way they were seeing there. Okay.
Should have hugged him.
Should have hugged him. Okay. So all of a sudden, because Richard Sherman said one thing that didn't turn out to be accurate, we've now debated what kind of
Schefter, it's not fair for you to say that this is the only reason why it's a referendum. Like, this is
no,
not.
But this week it is.
Well, I mean, but it's because of the body of work. If it was any other player, if this happened to somebody else, Patrick Mahomes, we wouldn't be having this whole conversation in referendum. Like, Baker Mayfield was on the cover of several magazines. Baker Mayfield has several commercials. I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but you have to accept if you're going to put yourself out there like that, sometimes these things are going to follow.
I'm looking at you. I'm trying to read your face. You have a very expressive face. What are you thinking right now?
Listen, I think this is a non-issue, non-story. But I think the bigger thing, and I think everybody talked about it when it came to the Browns. They've gone from the hunter to the hunted, okay? And this is all a part of being that team that's the hunted. Guys are going to, whether it's Nick Bosa and, Richard Sherman, albeit, that was fabricated. But these type of things are going to follow the Browns all year long.
The problem, Woody, is it's just not an effective strategy. Now, what I mean is Baker Mayfield, what he's doing is clearly working because he's affected people so much that they're having hallucinations of things that didn't actually exist.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, if you're a quarterback, you don't want to be the hunted. Because you can't block nobody.
But you can't control that. You're a quarterback. You're going to be hunted. And this idea that all him talking is going to make
who was hunting Andrew Luck?
Everybody's going to make teams want to get them even more. Like, that's what happens whether you talk or not. If you're a good team, people are going to give you their best shot. So, I mean, it's much ado about nothing. When you become a good team, when we played the Patriots, we got up for that week.
Wait, hold on a second.
Not because you were talking or not.
I hear you, but they're 2-3, and they just lost 31-3. There's no obvious evidence that suggests they're a good team, and yet they're the hunted.
I'm not saying that they're a good team. I'm saying that comes with the territory. So why not get used to it now? They may never be a good team, but who cares if they're getting the people's best shot?
They influenced and enhanced the territory. The Browns could have just sat in the corner like a serpent and struck other teams. Instead, they said, we're here. I'm here for the attack. They stood on the mountaintop.
So what? That's what every football player says every week. You act like you've never been in a locker room. Since when have you been in a locker room? People are like, oh, my gosh, let's not say anything. We're scared of them. That's not it.
But why give another team unnecessary motivation?
Because we're better. That's why. Because I don't care how much motivation you have. I'm better. I'm saying that's the mindset. That's the mindset you have when you're in a locker room. You don't care about giving people this extra motivation.
Let me wrap this up with a question that actually matters. They're 2-3, but they're only one game out of the lead in their division. Are the Browns going to have a big season? Are they good enough to be playing meaningful games in December?
Yeah, they're good enough.
Will they?
Their division's bad enough.
I think
that's the answer.
Yeah,
their division's bad enough. They're not.
Division has created an opportunity for them, but they better be a lot more efficient and productive on offense and a lot more consistent as a football team because couple of weeks ago, you said that they had a franchise-turning win
Yeah.
in Baltimore, and the next week they go out and lose by 28 points.
Well, that just shows you
It's
it's a week-to-week league.
It was. I was really surprised with how badly they played on Monday, and so we'll see if they're able to turn that around. Okay, Maria, where do we go from here?
We're going to Dak, and he's trying to turn some things around too, Greeny. He's had a roller coaster start to the season, and the Cowboys' first 3 wins to start. Prescott threw for 9 touchdowns as Dallas scored at least 31 points in each of those victories. In the last 2 games, though, both Dallas losses, Prescott has thrown 4 picks and just 2 touchdowns. Jerry Jones said a new deal for Dak isn't affected by all of the recent struggles. But why has he struggled? Teams with winning records tend to feast on Dak, and the last 2 games for the Cowboys have come versus teams with a combined record of 8-2. Overall, Dak is just 5-9 versus winning teams since 2017 and 17-6 versus all other teams. And so that brings us back to the question that I feel like we always have to ask you, Schefter, every single week, is why hasn't a deal been done yet?
Because the Dallas Cowboys value Dak a certain way, and he sees where the quarterback market is going, and he believes he's worth considerably more than they've offered so far. Now, again, you are worth what somebody is willing to pay you.
Right.
And the Dallas Cowboys to date have not valued him as an elite, upper scale, top tier type of quarterback so far. And again, I think they think he's making $2 million this year. We have the franchise tag. We have potentially the transition tag. We can do a lot of different things to control Dak Prescott's rights. And so they don't feel compelled and in any kind of rush to vault him into this exclusive paid category. They're taking their time. They're slow playing it. They value him at a much different level than he values himself. And we'll see who winds up winning that bet.
Yeah, and we keep hearing Jerry Jones saying that the last 2 games are not going to affect the deal at
No,
all. You don't
no, but
believe
here's the deal. We could talk about this every week because I don't think this deal is getting done anytime soon, if at all this season.
Oh.
So that's what you're talking about with Dak Prescott. It'll hang out there all year long. And we saw that season in which Joe Flacco bet on himself, got the Ravens to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, and I think the Super Bowl MVP as well, and then was rewarded with a huge contract. Well, Dak right now is sort of betting on himself, and he's seeing how the season has gone. It opened up great. They won 3 games. The last 2 weeks, everybody's now wondering.
Yeah.
But this is a question, I think, Maria, that we're going to be talking about all season long.
Good, so we'll hang out here in the
Great.
corner and just
My pleasure.
conversate
Let's
about
get
the
some
deal every single time.
cappuccinos the next time, too.
Next time you see us, that's what we're going to do, Greeny.
All right, listen, so I ask this next one with trepidation because a week ago today, these 2 guys started yelling at each other and I lost complete control of the proceedings. So I'll just turn to you. Do you feel as though Dak and the Cowboys were exposed when they stepped up in class the last 2 weeks?
I think somewhat, yes. I do think they were exposed. Listen, it's easy to be front runner status when you're playing against the Dolphins and I forgot the other team. The Giants, Redskins. Yeah, those cupcakes is one thing. But when you're talking about the Saints, who are arguably the best team in football, okay, and the Green Bay Packers, if we're going to pay Dak Prescott the type of money that we're talking about, don't you think we need to see, and I talked to Dominique about this, don't you think we need to see a quarterback, when his team is struggling, put the team on his back
I hear you, Woody.
and elevate the team. That's why I think Jerry Jones, right now is saying, you know what? I'm going to wait and see what Dak Prescott going to do this year.
You wanted that to be your outcome because if you want to find times when Dak has put the team on his back, you can look and find those. It just so happened that it didn't happen these past 2 weeks, but there have been times, I go back to these all the time, when he led a game-winning drive in the playoffs against the Seahawks, when he scored 17 points in the playoffs against Aaron Rodgers. Like, he can put this team on his back on occasion. I am not saying that he's a top-tier quarterback, but he's a step below that. And arguing, and Schefter said earlier that you're worth what a team pays you. That may be true in an open market, but this is not open. We also talk about the fact that there's a salary cap and there's franchise tag. Those things devalue him some, but he is good. If he was in a free market, he'd get broke off, and we all know that.
Let's talk numbers, because men lie, women lie, the numbers don't. Right, Neek? You said Dak can put the team on his back. Well, look at the stats. The Cowboys are 1-9, including playoffs, when Zeke doesn't rush for 75 yards. So if you just want to look at that, but beyond that, Dak beat the Dolphins 0-4, the Redskins 0-5, and a Danny Dimes-less New York Giants. And then he played the Packers, and they got smacked. I don't care what the score said. They got smacked, and they played the Saints, and they lost. So Dak isn't the type of quarterback. He's good, and I defended Dak earlier, but he's just not that man.
You said numbers don't lie, but you can be selective on the numbers you choose. We all accept that wins and losses aren't a quarterback stat until it helps your argument. You talk about his wins and losses. He has the second most wins of anybody next to Tom Brady since he entered the league. He also has the sixth best QBR since he entered the league. If you want to pick numbers that show that he's a baller, I can do that too. I watch these games and I know Dak Prescott can play. I know Dak Prescott is a borderline elite quarterback that some people are acting like he's holding the team back.
Now let's discuss though. Not all wins are created equal, and we saw that firsthand with Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins' record going into the season against teams with a winning record was 5-27. Dak's record right now against team with a winning record is 5-9. So I feel you, but not all wins are created equal.
He's not a starting pitcher. Wins and losses. Go ahead, Woody.
Final thought, D-Wood.
All I know, y'all can talk analytics and all those type of things, but I know what my eyes tell me.
Here we go.
With all the personnel that Stephen Jones and their front office department has put together around Dak Prescott, and you go out there and get smacked around by the Saints and the Packers.
Mike Greenberg.
Got smacked around. And you're talking about making this guy, paying this guy $35 million a year.
Final word.
Two things when you know you won an argument. When somebody say, I don't care about all that, but I'm telling you what I see with my eyes. Or when they say, I played in this league for 15 years. Those are the two things. When they start doing that, it's over. Stop the fight. Stop the fight.
I'm trying. QBR.
Somebody give that man CPR.
They're yelling at me in my ear.
Done with life.
I'm trying. Maria, help me.
I got your back, Grady. All right, we're going to talk about Deshaun Watson. Y'all be quiet, okay? I have spoken. The Texans' QB was incredible last week against the Falcons. 426 and 5 touchdowns. Maybe even more impressive, for the first time this season, he was not sacked in a game. And since entering the league in 2017, Watson has basically continually been under fire by opposing pass rushers. He's been hit nearly 260 times, while the 99 times he has been sacked is second only to Russell Wilson, who's been dropped 107 times. Welcome to the peaceful side of the studio. I promise not to yell at you about anything. And you already said that Deshaun Watson wins the Pat Mahomes debate. So we left Woody over there. We left Dominique over there. So you can get your little point off.
All I'm saying is it's time we put some respect with a CK on Deshaun Watson's name. If you give him time, he's just as good, if not better, than any player in the National Football League. Just take a look at the tape. Again, when they were playing the Falcons last week, they only rush in 3. They basically said if you weigh under 280 pounds, you're dropping, because we're not getting beat deep by Deshaun Watson. There's DeAndre Hopkins, probably the best receiver in the league. Everybody knows that, including the Falcons. But here's what I love about Deshaun when he has time. He's patient. He's not going to tuck and run. He stares right down the barrel of the football field. He holds the safety, and he actually draws another defender. You got 3 defenders on DeAndre Hopkins, and he delivers a perfect strike to Will Fuller for a touchdown. Again, you can tell me about all the things that Mahomes can do and Rodgers can do and Russell Wilson can do, but if you give Deshaun Watson time, I'll show you exactly what he can do.
Yeah, he can throw touchdown passes. He can
score. Stop the smoke.
I said this was the peaceful side of the
smoke can travel. The smoke can come down to the south side too. You stop blaspheming against Patrick Mahomes.
It's okay.
Let me get up and go. Let me get up and go to Kyrie Irving. This is not a great moment. Forced to leave a game against the Lakers in China after accidentally getting hit in the face by Rajon Rondo. Remember, he had previously fractured a bone in his face before training camp. We'll have much more on this game coming up a little bit later in this hour. But again, it's been a tough week for his face. Meanwhile, basically over before it started last night in Atlanta. The Cardinals scored 10 runs in the top of the first and beat the Braves 13-1 to take Game 5 of the National League Division Series. So the Cardinals will host the Nationals tomorrow night in Game 1 of the NLCS. As we continue, Patrick Mahomes, nursing an injured left ankle, could limit his mobility. Does the Chiefs quarterback need to move to succeed? We'll talk about that in advance of his game against Houston. And then, can someone with Clayton Kershaw's resume, how do they continue to fall short when it matters most? We'll discuss why some of the best just can't cut it when it matters most. Coming up, Get Up on ESPN.